Welcome to the Allison Knows podcast. Today we're diving deep into the world of astrology.
Ooh, fun.
We've got excerpts from two really amazing modern astrology guides,
Okay.
Star Power by Vanessa Montgomery and The Astrology Guide by Claudia Trevellis.
Oh, great.
And I'm so excited to unpack these insights with you.
Yeah.
It's like getting a personalized cosmic roadmap.
It is.
So tell me what exactly is astrology?
Well,
I feel like a lot of people just think of their daily horoscope,
Right.
like what's in the newspaper or whatever.
yeah, there's so much more to it than that.
Okay.
Astrology is really the study of celestial objects and their movements
Okay.
and how they can be interpreted to understand potential influences on us here on Earth.
So it's not just about predicting the future.
No.
It's about gaining insights into ourselves.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is that this isn't some new age concept.
Right.
We're talking about an ancient practice.
Okay.
There's evidence of moon phase tracking that dates back 32,000 years.
That's a long time.
That's incredible. It makes you wonder how those ancient people looked up at the stars
Right.
and started to connect the dots.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And, astrology actually played a key role in the development of both astronomy and mathematics.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was all interconnected back then.
That makes sense. I can see how observing the stars and their patterns would lead to all sorts of discoveries.
Absolutely. And now, in the 21st century,
Yeah.
we're kind of rediscovering the insights of this ancient system.
Uh-huh.
We're not just looking at it as predicting the future, but as a way to understand ourselves and our place in the universe.
I like that. Okay, so let's talk about some of the key components of astrology.
Okay.
I know planets are a big part of it.
They are.
What are their roles in our astrological makeup?
Think of it like a cosmic play,
Oh, okay.
where each planet is a character with a unique role that influences different parts of our psyche.
Ooh, I love that analogy.
Yeah.
So, like, which planet is the lead role?
Yeah.
And which ones are the supporting cast? Well, the sun is definitely a major player.
Okay.
It represents your core self, how you shine your basic identity.
Okay.
Then there's the moon,
Mhm.
which is all about your emotional needs, your inner world,
Okay.
what makes you feel secure.
Interesting. So if someone has their sun in Leo, for example,
Mm-hmm.
does that mean they're going to be a natural performer?
It could definitely manifest that way.
Okay.
Leos are known for their confidence and their love of self-expression.
Yeah.
So a Leo sun might indeed be drawn to the stage or any other platform where they can shine.
Right. Okay, so how do the other planets fit into this cosmic play?
Well, Venus is all about your love style and what you value in relationships.
Okay.
Mars is about your drive action, how you assert yourself, even your anger.
Mm-hmm.
Jupiter is linked to expansion luck and opportunities.
Jupiter sounds like the planet you want on your side.
For sure.
Definitely.
Then there's Saturn, which represents limitations, responsibility, and structure.
Yeah.
It's the planet of discipline and hard work.
Okay. Not quite as fun as Jupiter then.
Maybe not in the same way,
Yeah.
but Saturn is crucial for growth and maturity.
Okay.
And let's not forget the outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto.
Right. I've always wondered what those planets represent.
Yeah, they move slower and have a more generational influence.
Okay.
Uranus is about change, originality, and breakthroughs.
Mm-hmm.
Neptune is associated with dreams, illusions, and spirituality.
Okay.
And Pluto represents transformation power and rebirth.
Wow. So each planet brings its own unique energy to the table?
Precisely.
Okay.
And understanding these planetary energies is key to unlocking the secrets of your birth chart.
Okay, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
It's like we're starting to uncover the hidden language of the cosmos.
Right.
But before we go any further, I want to remind our listeners that you can find more amazing content like this on our YouTube and Spotify channels.
Yes, definitely check us out on those platforms.
Okay, so we've talked about planets, but what about zodiac signs?
Okay,
I know those are a big deal in astrology.
they are.
What do they represent?
So if planets are the characters in your cosmic play,
Okay.
then the zodiac signs are like the costumes and acting styles they wear.
Okay.
They color how the planet's energy is expressed.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's not just about what the planet represents, but how that energy plays out
Yes.
based on the sign.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For instance, let's say you have Venus in Aries.
Okay.
Venus is about love,
Mm.
but in fiery direct Aries, this means you express love in a bold and passionate way.
Okay.
But if your Venus is in Libra, which is all about harmony and balance, your approach to relationships will be more diplomatic
Oh.
and focused on creating peace.
So the zodiac sign adds another layer of nuance to the planetary influence.
Absolutely. And each sign belongs to one of four elements:
Okay.
fire, earth, air, and water.
Okay.
These elements describe the basic energy of the sign.
So fire signs are,
Passionate, energetic, and enthusiastic. They
yeah,
love action and adventure.
I
Think Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius.
got it. What about the other elements?
Earth signs are grounded, practical, and sensual.
Mm-hmm.
They value stability and tangible results.
Okay.
Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn are the earth signs.
Okay, I'm starting to see the patterns here.
Yeah.
What about air signs?
Air signs are intellectual, communicative, and curious.
Uh-huh.
They thrive on mental stimulation and social connection.
Okay.
Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius fall into this category.
And finally, we have water signs.
Yes, water signs are emotional, intuitive, and compassionate.
Mm-hmm.
They're deeply in tune with their feelings and the feelings of others.
Okay.
Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces are the water signs.
This is like learning a whole new language.
It is.
So we have planets and signs.
Yes.
What else is there to this cosmic puzzle?
There's one more key component, the houses.
Okay.
They're like the different stages or settings where these planetary characters play out their roles in your life.
So the houses are like the location in our cosmic soap opera.
Exactly.
I'm loving this.
Each house represents a specific area of life.
Okay.
There are 12 houses in total, and they cover everything from your personality and appearance.
Okay.
That's the first house, to your values and possessions.
Okay.
Second house, relationships. Seventh house, career. 10th house, and everything in between.
Wow. So depending on which planets are in which houses,
Yeah.
you can get a sense of how those planetary energies will express themselves in different areas of your life.
Precisely. It's like seeing the script of your cosmic play unfold.
This is amazing. So we've got planet signs and houses.
Mm-hmm.
What about compatibility?
Okay.
Can astrology tell us about our relationships with others?
Absolutely. By looking at how planets and signs interact in two people's birth charts, we can see areas of harmony and potential challenges.
Okay.
It's not about finding someone who's exactly like you,
Right.
but rather understanding the dynamics between your energies.
So for example, are there certain signs that are naturally more compatible?
Yeah.
Like I've heard that fire signs and air signs tend to get along well.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true?
Yes, there's definitely truth to that. Fire signs and air signs both tend to be outgoing, social, and mentally stimulated.
Yeah.
Fire ignites air, and air fans the flames of fire.
Okay.
It's a dynamic pairing that can be very exciting.
So it's about finding a balance of energies.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's important to remember that astrological compatibility is complex.
Right.
It's not just about sun signs.
Right.
There are many other factors to consider,
Oh.
including challenging aspects like squares and oppositions.
Okay, so it's not as simple as just looking up your sun signs in a compatibility chart.
Right. Astrology is a nuanced system,
Mhm.
but that's what makes it so fascinating.
Yeah.
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion and discovering new depths of understanding.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get into those more complex layers,
Okay.
tell me a little bit more about these challenging aspects.
Okay.
These squares and oppositions you mentioned.
Yeah.
How do those play out in relationships?
Well, a square occurs when two planets are 90 degrees apart in the birth chart. This creates tension and friction.
Okay.
It can be like two forces pulling in opposite directions.
So how would that manifest in a relationship?
Let's say someone has their Venus, the planet of love, square Saturn, the planet of limitations and responsibility.
Okay.
This person might find it difficult to express their affection freely or might constantly feel tested in their relationships.
That sounds challenging.
Yeah,
But you said these aspects offer opportunities for growth, right?
absolutely.
Okay.
That Venus square Saturn person
Yeah.
might initially struggle with intimacy or commitment, but through working through those challenges, they can learn to build stronger, more mature relationships.
It's like those challenging aspects are pushing us to become more well-rounded individuals.
Exactly. They highlight areas where we need to stretch and grow.
This is so insightful.
Yeah.
But before we go any further, I just want to remind everyone to like, subscribe, and share this episode with your friends.
Yes, please do that.
All right, back to the stars.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned earlier that astrological compatibility goes beyond just sun signs.
Right.
What are some other things we can look at in a birth chart to understand relationships?
Well, the moon sign is very important in relationships.
Okay.
It represents our emotional needs and what makes us feel secure.
Okay.
So, for example, if you have a moon in Cancer, which is a very nurturing and sensitive sign,
Mm-hmm.
you might be drawn to partners who can provide emotional stability and a sense of home.
So even if two people have compatible sun signs,
Right.
their moon signs could create friction.
It's possible.
Okay.
For example, a Leo sun might be attracted to the playful energy of a Gemini sun.
Yeah.
But if the Leo has a moon in Cancer and the Gemini has a moon in Aquarius, which is a more detached and independent sign,
Yeah.
there could be some emotional misunderstandings.
I see. So looking at the whole birth chart gives a much more nuanced understanding of compatibility.
Absolutely. And there are other factors to consider, like Venus and Mars placements.
Okay.
Venus shows what we value in relationships and how we express affection, while Mars shows how we assert ourselves and what we find attractive.
Okay, so someone with Venus and Taurus,
Mm-hmm.
an earth sign that loves sensual pleasure and stability,
Right.
might be attracted to someone with Mars in Virgo, another earth sign that's practical and helpful.
Exactly.
Okay.
And those two planets can be in any sign, creating all sorts of interesting combinations.
Wow, there's so much to consider.
There is, and beyond just romantic compatibility, we can use astrology to understand any kind of relationship dynamic, family, friends,
Oh, wow.
even coworkers.
That's fascinating. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to understand my relationship with my mom, for example,
Mm-hmm.
could I look at our birth charts and see how our planets interact?
Absolutely. You could look at your moon, which represents your relationship with your mother figure,
Okay.
and see how it aspects her sun, moon, and other planets.
Okay.
You could also look at your fourth house, which represents home and family, and see how her planets fall in your fourth house, and vice versa.
This is mind-blowing.
Yeah,
It's like astrology gives us a whole new language to understand the people in our lives.
exactly. And it can be such a powerful tool for healing and growth in relationships.
Okay, I'm hooked.
Ah.
But before we go too deep into relationship dynamics,
Yeah.
I think it's time to move on to our next section.
Okay.
We've covered planets, signs, houses, and compatibility.
Yes.
What's next on our astrological adventure?
Let's talk about some of the more nuanced concepts in astrology,
Okay.
like aspects and transits.
Okay.
These can be a little more complex, but they offer even deeper insights into our personalities and life paths.
Okay. I'm ready to dive deeper. But first, a quick reminder to our listeners.
Yes.
If you're enjoying this deep dive into astrology,
Mm-hmm.
make sure to hit that subscribe button
Yes.
and share this episode with your friends.
Yes.
You can also find us on Spotify and YouTube. Just search for Allison Knows.
Right.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on astrology and what you're learning from this episode.
Definitely let us know.
All right, now let's talk about aspects.
Okay.
Remember how we said that the planets are like characters in a cosmic play? Well, aspects are the relationships between those characters.
Exactly.
Okay.
They show how the planets interact with each other
Hmm.
and influence our lives.
So it's like understanding the dynamics between the different players in our cosmic soap opera.
Exactly. I
That's
love
fun.
that. And there are two main types of aspects.
Okay.
Harmonious and challenging.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more about these harmonious aspects.
Harmonious aspects occur when planets are at certain angles to each other in the birth chart,
Okay.
like 60 degrees or 120 degrees.
Okay.
These angles create a smooth flow of energy between the planets,
Mhm.
making it easier to express those energies positively.
So it's like those planets are working together in harmony, supporting each other.
Exactly. A classic example is a trine,
Okay.
which occurs when planets are 120 degrees apart.
Okay.
Trines are often associated with ease flow and natural talents.
So if I have a trine between my sun and Venus,
Mm-hmm.
does that mean I'll have a happy and fulfilling love life?
It certainly contributes to the potential for that. A Sun-Venus trine suggests that you express your love and affection naturally and gracefully.
Okay.
You might find it easy to attract partners and create harmonious relationships.
That sounds lovely.
It is.
But what about those challenging aspects you mentioned earlier?
Yeah.
How do those play out in a birth chart?
Challenging aspects like squares and oppositions
Yeah.
occur when planets are at more difficult angles to each other, like 90 degrees or 180 degrees.
Okay.
These angles create friction and tension between the planetary energies.
So instead of working together, those planets are kind of butting heads.
In a way, yes, but it's important to remember that challenging aspects aren't necessarily bad.
Right.
They just present us with obstacles to overcome and lessons to learn.
Okay.
They can actually be incredibly powerful catalysts for growth.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's not about trying to avoid those challenging aspects.
No.
It's about learning to work with them.
Exactly.
Okay.
Those squares and oppositions can push us to develop our strengths, confront our weaknesses, and ultimately become more well-rounded individuals.
So how would a challenging aspect actually play out in someone's life?
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Let's say someone has a square between their Mars,
Okay.
the planet of action and assertion,
Okay.
and Saturn, the planet of limitations and discipline.
Okay.
This person might struggle with self-doubt, procrastination, or feeling blocked in their endeavors.
Oh.
They might have a lot of energy and drive,
Yeah,
but find it hard to translate that into tangible results.
that sounds frustrating. But you said there's an opportunity for growth here, right?
Absolutely. This Mars-Saturn square is pushing this person to develop patience, discipline, and a more strategic approach to their goals.
Okay.
By learning to work with Saturn's energy of structure and planning, they can overcome their Mars-related impulsiveness and achieve great things.
It's like those challenging aspects are teaching us valuable life lessons.
Exactly. They're showing us where we need to put in the work to reach our full potential.
This is so insightful. I'm starting to see how astrology can be such a powerful tool for self-awareness. It's like having a cosmic therapist on speed dial.
I love that analogy. And, it's important to remember that these aspects, both harmonious and challenging,
Yeah.
don't operate in isolation.
Okay.
They're all interconnected and work together to create the tapestry of our lives.
That's fascinating. So our birth charts are like a cosmic map
Yeah,
guiding us through the ups and downs of life.
exactly. And the more we understand that map,
Yeah.
the more we can navigate those twists and turns with awareness and intention.
Okay, I'm completely hooked. Now, you mentioned something earlier about transits.
Yes.
Could you explain what those are and how they fit into this whole astrological picture?
Absolutely. So far, we've been talking about the planet's positions at the moment of our birth,
Okay,
which forms our natal chart.
right.
But the planets don't just stay put in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
They continue to move, and their movements create what we call transits. Transits are the ongoing movements of planets in the sky and how they interact with our natal chart.
So it's like the planets are constantly in motion.
Yes.
Creating new energy patterns and influences in our lives.
Exactly. It's like the planets are always whispering messages to us,
Okay.
guiding us along our path.
So how do transits actually affect us?
Yeah.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Let's say you're going through a Saturn transit.
Okay.
Saturn, as we mentioned, is the planet of responsibility, discipline, and structure.
Right.
So when Saturn transits a certain area of your chart, you might experience challenges, restrictions, or a need to get serious about something in that area of life.
So it's like Saturn is testing us,
Yeah.
pushing us to step up and take responsibility.
In a way, yes, but it's not meant to be punishing.
Okay.
Saturn's transits, while often challenging, ultimately help us build a solid foundation for the future.
Right.
They can be a time of great growth and maturity.
Okay, that makes sense. So transits can be like astrological weather patterns.
Yeah.
Bringing periods of growth, challenge, opportunity, and change.
That's a great analogy.
Okay.
And understanding transits can help us navigate the ups and downs of life with more awareness and insight.
Yeah.
It's like having a cosmic roadmap that helps us understand the timing of events and make the most of the opportunities that come our way.
This is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see how astrology can be such a powerful tool for self-discovery. It's like it's giving us the keys to our own cosmic car.
Exactly. And it's up to us to choose where we want to go and how we want to navigate the journey.
Okay, I am ready for a test drive, but first a quick reminder to our listeners.
Yes.
If you're enjoying this deep dive into astrology, make sure to hit that subscribe button
Yes.
and share this episode with your friends. You can also find us on Spotify and YouTube. Just search for Allison Knows.
Right.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on astrology and what you're learning from this episode.
Yeah, definitely let us know.
All right, now let's shift gears and talk about some specific examples of how these astrological concepts manifest in real life.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I'm ready to get down to brass tacks. Let's talk about sun signs.
Okay.
I'm always fascinated by how different sun signs express themselves in the world. Can you tell me about some of the more intriguing signs?
Okay, let's start with Aries, the first sign of the zodiac.
Okay.
It's a fire sign known for being bold, independent, and pioneering.
Ah, yes, the trailblazers of the zodiac.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Aries individuals are quick to take action and aren't afraid of a challenge. They're natural leaders and have a competitive spirit.
Okay.
Think of someone like Lady Gaga, an Aries sun,
Okay.
who's constantly pushing boundaries and reinventing herself.
She's definitely a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
So if I know someone who's always up for an adventure and never backs down from a challenge, they might just be an Aries.
That's a good bet.
Okay.
Another interesting sign is Leo, also a fire sign, but with a more theatrical flair.
Leos are all about self-expression, right?
Yeah. Definitely, Leos are confident, creative, and love to be the center of attention.
Yeah.
They're natural performers and have a warm and generous spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Think of someone like Jennifer Lopez, a Leo sun,
Okay.
who embodies that Leo energy in everything she does.
It's like they have an inner spotlight that's always shining.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now let's switch gears to an air sign Libra.
Okay.
Libras are all about harmony, balance, and relationships.
They're the peacemakers of the zodiac.
You could say that Libras are diplomatic, charming, and have a strong sense of justice. They thrive in partnerships and value fairness above all else.
It sounds like they'd be great mediators.
They often are.
Oh.
Now let's get a little intense with Scorpio.
Okay.
A water sign known for its depth, passion, and transformative power.
Scorpios have a reputation for being mysterious.
That's part of their allure. Scorpios are intense, perceptive, and deeply emotional.
Okay.
They're not afraid to delve into the shadows and have a knack for uncovering hidden truths.
They're like the detectives of the zodiac.
In a way, yes, Scorpios are also incredibly loyal and protective of those they love.
Okay, it's amazing how each sign has its own distinct personality.
It is.
But I know there's more to it than just sun signs.
Right?
Can we dive deeper into some specific signs and explore their different layers?
Absolutely. Let's take a closer look at a few signs and see how their elemental and modal energies influence their personalities.
Okay.
Let's start with Libra, since we just talked about them.
Perfect. I'm curious to learn more about those peacemakers.
So Libra is an air sign, which means they are intellectual, communicative, and curious. They love to engage in stimulating conversations, explore different perspectives, and connect with people on a mental level.
That makes sense. I could definitely see how that air energy manifests in Libras.
Right. But there's another layer to consider: modality.
Right.
Libra is a cardinal sign, which means they are initiators, leaders, and starters.
Okay.
They like to take charge and make things happen.
Wait, so they're peacemaker,
Yeah?
but they also like to take charge.
Yeah.
That seems contradictory.
It's not a contradiction, it's a dynamic.
Okay.
Libras are driven to create harmony and balance,
Mm-hmm.
and they're willing to take the lead to make that happen.
Oh.
They're the ones who organize the social gatherings,
Right.
mediate conflicts, and make sure everyone feels included.
Okay, that makes sense. So they use their cardinal energy to create peace and harmony.
Yes.
It's like they're the diplomatic leaders of the zodiac.
Exactly. And that cardinal energy also gives them a strong sense of justice and fairness. They can be fierce advocates for what they believe in.
I can see that. Now, what about another sign?
Okay.
Can we look at Scorpio through this elemental and modal lens?
Absolutely. Scorpio is a water sign, which means they are emotional, intuitive, and deeply feeling. They're in touch with their own emotions and the emotions of others.
Yes, I definitely get that Scorpio vibe of intensity and depth.
Right. But Scorpio is also a fixed sign,
Okay,
which means they are persistent, determined, and unwavering in their pursuits.
so they're like the emotional powerhouses of the zodiac.
You could say that they have this incredible ability to focus their energy on what matters to them and see things through to the end.
That sounds powerful, but could that fixed energy also make them stubborn or inflexible?
It's possible, but again, it's about understanding the dynamic.
Okay.
Scorpios are deeply committed to what they believe in, and they won't back down easily. That fixed energy can be a source of great strength and resilience.
I can see that. So each sign has its own unique blend of elemental and modal energy that shapes its personality.
Precisely. And by understanding these layers, we can gain a much deeper appreciation for the complexity and beauty of the zodiac.
Okay, I'm ready to explore the rest of the zodiac signs, but we've got to take a quick break for now.
Stay tuned, listeners. We'll be back soon to continue our astrological journey.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with your friends who might be interested in learning more about the stars.
Yes, please spread the astrological love.
We'll be right back after this quick message.
Welcome back to the Allison Knows podcast, where we're exploring the fascinating world of astrology.
I'm so glad to be back. I feel like we've already uncovered so much about the planets, signs, and houses, but I know there's still so much more to learn.
You're right. There's always more to discover in astrology. It's a truly multifaceted system.
Okay, so before the break, we were starting to talk about how the elements and modalities influence the personality of each zodiac sign. We covered Libra and Scorpio. Can we delve into a few more examples?
Absolutely. Let's take a look at a fire sign like Sagittarius. Sagittarius is known for its adventurous spirit, optimism, and love of freedom.
Ah, yes, the archers of the zodiac. Always aiming for the horizon.
Exactly. Sagittarius individuals are naturally curious and always seeking new experiences and knowledge. They're drawn to travel, philosophy, and expanding their horizons.
So if someone's constantly planning their next big trip or deep in thought about the meaning of life, they might just be a Sagittarius.
It's definitely a possibility. Now, Sagittarius is also a mutable sign, which means they are adaptable, flexible, and go with the flow.
So they're adventurous, but also open to change? That's an interesting combination.
It is. Mutable signs are all about embracing new possibilities and adjusting to different situations. So, a Sagittarius might have a set plan, but they're also willing to deviate from it if something more exciting comes along.
That makes sense. It's like they're always on the lookout for the next adventure.
Precisely. They thrive on spontaneity and new experiences.
I can see how that mutable energy would make them great travelers and explorers.
Absolutely. Now let's contrast that with an earth sign like Taurus. Taurus is known for its grounded nature, sensuality, and love of comfort and stability.
Ah, yes, the bulls of the zodiac.
Yeah,
Steady, reliable, and enjoying the finer things in life.
exactly. Taurus individuals are practical, down to earth, and appreciate the beauty of the natural world. They're drawn to creating a secure and comfortable environment for themselves and their loved ones.
So if someone's a great cook, loves spending time in nature, and has an eye for quality, they might be a Taurus.
It's definitely a strong possibility. Now, Taurus is also a fixed sign, which means they are persistent, determined, and loyal.
So they're grounded, but also unwavering in their commitments. That's a powerful combination.
It is. Fixed signs are all about stability and seeing things through to completion. So, a Taurus might take a while to make a decision, but once they do, they're in it for the long haul.
That makes sense. It's like they're the anchors of the zodiac, providing stability and grounding.
Exactly. They're the ones who create a sense of security and reliability in their relationships and endeavors.
This is fascinating. It's amazing how the elements and modalities create such distinct personalities for each zodiac sign.
It is, and the beauty of astrology is that it acknowledges and celebrates this diversity.
Okay, so we've talked about some individual signs, but now I'm curious to hear about how these signs interact with each other in relationships. We touched upon compatibility earlier, but can we go a bit deeper?
Absolutely. Astrological compatibility is a complex and fascinating topic. It goes beyond just sun signs. We need to consider the entire birth chart to get a complete picture.
Okay, so let's say we have two people with compatible sun signs. Does that automatically mean they'll have a smooth and harmonious relationship?
Not necessarily. While sun sign compatibility is a good starting point, it's just one piece of the puzzle. We also need to look at the moon signs, Venus signs, Mars signs, and the aspect between these planets.
Okay, that makes sense. So the moon signs represent emotional compatibility, right?
Exactly. The moon sign shows our emotional needs, how we nurture ourselves and others, and what makes us feel secure. So if two people have compatible moon signs, they're more likely to understand each other's emotional language and provide the support and comfort each other needs.
So for example, if someone has a moon in Cancer, which is a very nurturing sign, they might be drawn to someone with a moon in Pisces, which is also very compassionate and intuitive.
That's a great example. Those two moon signs would likely have a deep emotional understanding and a natural ability to empathize with each other.
Now, what about Venus and Mars? How do those planets play into relationship dynamics?
Venus represents our values in relationships, what we find attractive, and how we express affection. So, if two people have compatible Venus signs, they're more likely to share similar relationship styles and enjoy spending time together.
So for instance, if someone has Venus in Taurus, which is a sign that loves sensual pleasure and stability, they might be attracted to someone with Venus in Virgo, which is also an earth sign that appreciates practicality and attention to detail.
Exactly. Those two Venus signs would likely enjoy simple pleasures, quality time, and creating a comfortable and harmonious environment together.
Now, what about Mars? How does that fiery planet influence relationships?
Mars represents our drive, passion, and how we assert ourselves in relationships. It also shows what we find sexually attractive. So if two people have compatible Mars signs, they're more likely to have a strong physical and sexual connection.
So for example, if someone has Mars in Aries, which is a sign that loves adventure and spontaneity, they might be drawn to someone with Mars in Sagittarius, which also craves freedom and excitement.
That's a great example. Those two Mars signs would likely have a passionate and adventurous relationship filled with new experiences and a lot of energy.
This is so insightful. It's amazing how all these different planetary energies can come together to create a complex and dynamic relationship.
It is. And it's important to remember that astrological compatibility is not about finding someone who's exactly like you. It's about understanding the interplay of your energies and how you can complement and challenge each other to grow.
I love that. It's like finding that perfect balance of harmony and friction to create a spark.
Exactly. Relationships are all about growth and evolution, and astrology can help us understand the dynamics at play and navigate those challenges with more awareness.
Okay, so we've talked about moon signs, Venus signs, and Mars signs. What about those aspects you mentioned earlier? Do those also play a role in compatibility?
Absolutely. Aspects are crucial for understanding the nuances of any relationship dynamic. They show how the planets in two people's birth charts interact with each other and create specific energy patterns.
Can you give us an example of how a specific aspect might play out in a relationship?
Sure. Let's say one person has their Venus conjunct the other person's Mars. This is a powerful aspect that often creates a strong attraction and sexual chemistry. Venus represents love and Mars represents desire. So when these two planets are together, it can be quite magnetic.
Wow, that sounds intense.
It can be, but it's not always a guarantee of a long-lasting relationship. It depends on the maturity of the individuals involved and their willingness to work through any challenges that arise.
So even with a strong Venus-Mars conjunction, other aspects in the chart can create friction.
Exactly. For example, if one person has their Saturn square the other person's moon, it could create emotional difficulties. The Saturn person might be more reserved and emotionally guarded, while the moon person might crave more warmth and affection.
So it's about understanding the entire interplay of energies in the chart.
Precisely. It's like reading a cosmic story where each planet is a character and the aspects are the plot twists and turns.
I love that analogy. It makes astrology feel so much more dynamic and engaging.
It is. And the more we understand these nuances, the more we can appreciate the complexity of human relationships.
This is so fascinating. It's like we're getting a behind-the-scenes look at the cosmic dance of love and connection.
Exactly. And astrology can be such a powerful tool for understanding ourselves and our partners and navigating those relationships with more consciousness and compassion.
Okay, so we've covered planets, signs, houses, compatibility aspects. There's so much to learn.
There is, but we've laid a solid foundation for understanding the basics of astrology.
Now, before we move on to our final segment, I want to remind our listeners that you can find more amazing content like this on our YouTube and Spotify channels.
That's right. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode with your friends who are curious about astrology.
We'll be right back after this quick message to wrap up our deep dive into the stars.
Welcome back to the Allison Knows podcast. We're in the final stretch of our deep dive into the fascinating world of astrology.
And believe me, you guys, this is where it gets really interesting.
I'm all ears. I'm ready to unlock those cosmic secrets.
Well, remember how we've been talking about planets as characters in this cosmic play of our lives?
Yes, each planet has its own unique energy and role to play.
Exactly. Well, now we're going to explore how those characters interact with each other and what that means for you.
It's like figuring out the relationship dynamics between the cast of our cosmic soap opera.
Precisely. These relationships between planets are called aspects, and they can be harmonious or challenging, revealing a lot about the different facets of our personality and how we navigate life.
Okay, so give us an example of a harmonious aspect. What would that look like in someone's birth chart? Let's say someone has their sun in Leo and their moon in Libra. This creates a lovely trine aspect, which means these two planets are working together beautifully. It's just a person who is naturally confident and enjoys being the center of attention. That's the Leo sun. But they also have a strong need for harmony and balance in their emotional life. That's the Libra moon.
So it's like their outer personality and their inner needs are in sync.
Exactly. This person might find it easy to express themselves creatively and connect with others in a meaningful way. They're likely to have a charming and diplomatic personality.
I could see how that would be a recipe for a happy and fulfilling life. But what about those challenging aspects, the ones that create friction?
Those are important too because they highlight areas where we might face obstacles or inner conflicts. For example, someone with their Venus in Aries square Saturn in Capricorn might experience challenges in their love life.
Okay, unpack that for us. What's going on there?
Venus in Aries is all about passionate and impulsive love. They dive headfirst into relationships. But Saturn in Capricorn is cautious and reserved. It values structure and commitment. So when these two planets are squaring each other, it can create a push-pull dynamic.
So on the one hand, they crave excitement and spontaneity in love, but on the other hand, they might fear getting hurt or struggle with commitment.
Precisely. This person might need to learn how to balance their need for freedom with their desire for security in relationships. It's not easy, but it's through these challenges that we learn and grow.
That's a great point. It's like those challenging aspects are pushing us to become more well-rounded individuals.
Exactly. And understanding these aspects in our birth chart can help us make sense of our strengths and weaknesses and how we can use them to our advantage.
I'm really starting to see how astrology can be such a powerful tool for self-awareness. It's like having a cosmic therapist on speed dial.
I love that analogy. And speaking of self-awareness, have you ever wondered why you feel different at certain times of the year or why you seem to go through cycles of growth and change?
All the time.
Well, that's where transits come in. Transits are the ongoing movements of planets in the sky and how they affect us throughout life. It's like the planets are constantly whispering messages to us, guiding us along our path.
So it's not just about our birth chart. It's about how those planets are interacting with our chart in real time.
Precisely. For example, let's say you're going through a Saturn return. This happens around the age of 29 and again around 58. It's a time when Saturn returns to the same position it was in when you were born.
Okay, and what does that mean for us mere mortals?
Saturn is all about responsibility, structure, and discipline. So a Saturn return is often a time of reckoning. It's a time to take stock of your life, assess your priorities, and make sure you're building a solid foundation for the future.
So it could be a pretty intense period.
It can be, but it's also a time of incredible growth and transformation. You might feel like you're being tested, but ultimately Saturn is helping you step into your power and become the best version of yourself.
Wow. It sounds like transits are like these cosmic checkpoints that help us stay on track.
That's a great way to put it. And there are many different transits to consider, but understanding how they work can give you a whole new perspective on the cycles of your life.
This is mind-blowing. I'm starting to see how astrology can be such a secret language that's been waiting for us to decode it.
It is. And the more you learn about it, the more you realize how much it has to offer.
So what's the biggest takeaway you want our listeners to remember from this deep dive into astrology?
I think the most important thing is to remember that astrology is not about fate or predetermination. It's about self-awareness and empowerment. Your birth chart is a roadmap, not a prison sentence. It shows you your challenges and the tools you have to navigate life.
I love that. It's like astrology is giving us the keys to our own cosmic car.
Exactly. And it's up to us to choose where we want to go.
Well said.
Yeah.
And on that note, I want to thank our incredible expert for guiding us through this captivating journey into the world of astrology.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our amazing listeners, thank you for joining us on another deep dive into the world of knowledge. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends who might be curious about astrology.
And don't forget to join Allison Knows on Spotify and YouTube for more insightful content.
Thank you for listening to the Allison Knows podcast. Follow Allison on Blue Sky, YouTube, and TikTok.